Hey folks, Mr. Justin here with Secret Weapon Miniatures, and I want to thank you for joining me on another Workbench Wednesday quick tip tutorial. Of course, if this is your first time joining me, please remember to like, subscribe, click the bells, whistles, whatever it is you need to do in order to make sure you can keep up to date with everything going on around here. Now that, of course, means that the Workbench Wednesday events are driven by your feedback. That means that whether it's the live event or these pre-recorded quick tips, it's being recorded in order to respond to your questions, your requests for tutorials or demonstrations on things you'd like to see. This week, I'm actually doing something a little bit differently. This one is going to be a product demo. I am back with the incredible Stompa Belly from Games Workshop. This is a piece I had left over from a Stompa with Belly Gun, which is an incredible Forge World edition to the Stompa that I did for the Nova Open Charitable Foundation. Quite a mouthful some days. And I had this piece left over, so I had decided a while back that I was going to do each tile differently and then put it in a shadow box. So now it's being driven, of course, by community feedback here. And this time what I'm doing differently is I'm going to be using several of the Secret Weapon acrylic special effects paints, which in this case are Fresh Oil, Old Oil, Engine Rust, and Engine Fluid. And I want you guys to be able to see this over a white panel for maximum effect. And I'm actually just going to demonstrate this and then clean off that panel so that it can be used in another tutorial where I'll actually keep the panel. But for this one, it's a quick product demo on what these are, so that as I'm using them in later tutorials, you'll have a better idea of what the effect looks like over pure white. So in this case, I have a panel of a nice angle here. The first thing I'm going to do is, because these are clear fluid, I'm actually going to put a drop out on my palette just to make sure there's no detritus left in the tip where any of the acrylic medium might have dried, because I don't want that on the model. I want to be able to take this and go straight over my model, and right here on that panel, put a drop. And already you can see the fluidity of this. There we go. And that's straight out of the bottle. It'll pool. And I've used this on verdigris effects, as I did on another one of the Workbench Wednesday quick tips. There we go. And of course, as with so much of this, the real trick here is wicking it away, wicking it away. The unwanted portions you get in here, damp brush, get your paint towel ready, wick it away, wick it away, wick it away now. And you get a nice translucent blue. Also gets a bit of a shine to it, of course. All right, now I'm going to save Engine Rust for last. Let's do Fresh Oil first. Maybe we'll gunk up a different panel, because that one's kind of fun. I can show off a photo of that in the description here. All right, making sure my fresh oil is coming out clear. No detritus in the tip. Give it a little more of a shake. And let's see, let's actually, go ahead and do a different panel. I can always clean these up later, paint right over them. So I'm going to take this panel for both the fresh and the old oil. I'm going to start the fresh up in a different corner here. Boop. And same deal, I'm going to take a brush. I'm going to fill in this little area here where I want it. And I'm going to pull it straight down. And then into this recess here. Around that nut, bolt. I'm going to do this in a couple of layers. There's someone somewhere said 2 thin layers was a good idea, something like that. I don't know. I read about it on the internet. Oh, yeah, see? The old oil has just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of very fine metallic flake in it. It makes it just a little more likely to clog up the tip there. There we go. Same deal, opposite corner here on this little panel. You can already see that touch of metallic shine that I was talking about too. And And this, obviously, a lot more sludgy. So now I'm going to get my brush damp, fill in that area, and subtract. Rinse my brush, dry it off. Decide it's too much, I can get my brush damp and apply it instead of cleaning it off. There we go. Thin it out a bit, pull it where I want it. If it starts to get too fluid on you, just wick some away. You can use that to your advantage on panels like this, though, when they're at an angle. If you're looking for interesting effects and you have the luxury of being a bit random. Not always possible if you've got a commission or something like that. Right? You need to get it exactly where it needs to be. Here we go. So there's the translucent old oil versus the fresh. But that fresh, no. It's not about that fresh. I think it needs a second thin coat. And this time I'm going to pull it down in different spaces so that I get different pooling and color. Voila. And they will retain a lot of that shine. They do have the shine built right in. You can come in and thin that out more, subtract it, as long as it's still damp. And this is going to stay damp for a while, as long as we're handling this. There we go, see? Give it just a few seconds, and what you can actually do is come in and create sharp lines. There you go. Pushing around some of the paint that's starting to harden, starting to dry. But now on the, let's see, actually, this is perfect. We're going to use engine rust for one of its intended purposes. This is one of the ways that I like to use it. I know that Jess Rich and Aaron Lovejoy enjoy engine rust as a flesh highlight. I think that's awesome. I always love hearing things like that. Products used in ways I wasn't expecting. James Wapple once painted a model of a tank using nothing but the Secret Weapon dry pigments, his finger and spit. What happens at Gen Con? But all right, I am going to, same thing, because I see some detritus. Yeah. Who's gunky? You're a gunky tip. Get out of here, gunky tip. Let's shake you up. All right, so I'm going to put a drop of engine rust on here. And I'm actually going to spread it out all over this panel. Thin it out as I go. Now, one of the ways that I use this is oxidizing panels, which is what I'm doing now. Notice I'm coming down in a single direction now. I'm creating a little slightly streak effect, and I'm pulling it down towards the base of this panel to actually bring that highlight towards the bottom. Press Y in another tutorial, because I'm actually going to paint over this with much the same streaking effects, and this will help make those stand out. So now we're still wet, but now the entire palette here is a little more integrated. I get a nice streaky effect and an oxidization effect. Pull out the pools around these things because I'm going to do something else with that later. So there we are. We'll come back to that one more time. We'll start here at the engine fluid. Over here to new fresh and old oil. Yeah, you can see the sheen now, and that is dry. And of course, the last thing we did here was applying engine rust, and you can see that's still wet. It's a little bit wet. You can start to see it really now. And there we are. So these are the effects that we're looking for. I will paint back over these panels at some point, but I will be using these materials in other tutorials. So like I said, I wanted to make sure you got a chance to see them against a white backdrop on an interesting surface before I started trying to use it in other steps here. So there it is, little product demo for you. As always, thanks for watching. If there's anything else you want to see, make sure you let us know so we can get it done. From everyone at Secret Weapon, cheers.